Hello, hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm just gonna test this real quick just to hear myself and then we can start. All right. Okay, well, welcome, Sir Welch, Darvaza Archive, Evav or Ivav. Thank you for your congratulations and Uncle Sam. All right, so what this will be about is sort of just you guys can ask me some questions, historical questions, personal questions, channel questions. But yeah, just feel free to ask me about what you want to know about. I mean, could also be just about my university. And yeah, let's go at it. So come at me with the questions. Okay, first question. Who's my favorite Roman emperor? Hmm, this is, yeah, so this is an interesting question. I mean, I gotta say, I'm biased. I'm probably gonna say Constantine because he's like the first Christian emperor, which is pretty epic. But I will say though, I mean, Trajan is pretty cool. He literally led um, the empire to reach its maximum territorial expansion. So I'd say definitely admire Trajan a lot. Yeah, so probably those two. Okay. Next question is Morocco, France, Croatia, Argentina. Is this referring to the World Cup? Just right if that is your if that's what you're referring to. Okay, my ethnic background. So the thing is I've taken this ancestry test and it should be arriving just about now where they process it. So I'm gonna leave that question for a bit later. Okay, my next question. What is my preferred era in history? Actually, let me turn on the light, see if it's any good. Okay. No, it doesn't change that much. What is my... Oh, Andre Farfan, welcome. Yes, thank you for the congratulations. And by the way, if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay, what's my preferred era in history? I mean, it's always a tricky question because, like, technically I don't have a preference. Uh, I really like studying all periods of history, but I'd say, different times I'm interested in different things. So I'm especially interested in like basically the colonization of the New World, um, and sort of just like Western civilization between around 1400 and 1900, but with a focus on the British especially. I've always just been a big fan of the British, so yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that, but I think really like learning about the Spanish Empire, Dutch Empire, French Empire, those are all pretty cool. British Empire. Favorite Canadian province, and if you can travel to any place, time, which one? Okay, this is an interesting question. So like, I'm from Ontario, so like, obviously I'm somewhat biased towards Ontario, but like to say if it's my actual favorite, I mean, I'd say like if we're talking about like where I want to live and which values align the most to mine, definitely Alberta. But I guess if I could travel to any, because I have been to only BC, Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec. So if I have to travel to a new one, I'm thinking probably Nova Scotia. Yeah, yeah. Best history YouTuber. Ollie Bye. I mean, I think for those of you who know me pretty well, it's a fairly standard response, but yeah. Um, let's think about it. Okay, I'm not really sure why YouTube keeps like censoring all these like very mildly controversial comments. Like Julius is okay. Oh, it was hidden by Uncle Sam. Okay, okay. Um, so next question: Catholic Kingdom or Protestant Republic? See, I'm not a huge fan of republics, but I'd rather live in a Protestant republic. It's interesting you asked me this question because I was just watching a video about the English Civil War and it's sort of pitting these two against each other. Yeah. Next, Violet0126. I love this guy. This is my man. Violet, if you're in the chat, thank you. How are you? I'm doing pretty well. I had my political philosophy exam um, yesterday, so that was a bit tough, but like I got through it, and now it's something I don't need to really worry about anymore. Am I halal mode? Explain what you mean by halal mode, and I'll answer that. Okay, so Julius Caesar says, for me, a Catholic kingdom is preferable. Well, yeah, I know you're a pretty big monarchist, so it doesn't really surprise me that much. All right. Again, guys, if you have any more questions, could also be like personal questions, life questions, yeah, like video questions, like what are the plans for the channel? Just feel free to ask all those. My least favorite Catholic saint? I mean, the problem is I need to know like a lot of them. I know vague amount about most of them, but yeah, I can't really answer that question. Can I say uwu? I mean, okay, I just did. When did the Roman Empire fall, in my opinion? So, you have in parentheses 1470. I don't know if that's a suggestion. I mean, I actually have a pretty, like, unique view on when the Roman Empire fell, because I would actually say it was not 476. It's not 1453, as is sort of the more popular revisionist take now, and not any of those successor states. I would actually say 395 because that's when just the empire split for good, and so I would say that was the end of the Roman Empire. Although of course the Western Roman Empire was similar enough, so I understand why people say it's 476. Yeah, okay. How did the exam go yesterday? So basically we had to write two essays. One, I'm trying to think what it was. What was my essay about? No, it was about basically like liberalism. Can liberalism contain the sort of division coming from the fact that people follow different religions and are pursuing different goals? And I basically was arguing no, because liberalism is hinged on the assumption that um, we all have some goal we're progressing towards, and a lot of people don't believe in progress. So I feel like liberalism is not sufficient enough to do that. Um, my other question was basically comparing Thomas Hobbes, um, Karl Marx, and Hannah Arendt's view on power and what they thought it was. I mean, all these stupid questions. Say sussy baka. Okay, I said it. Rome fell in 1922. Bro, like, no. I mean, I respect you, Julius Caesar, because, like, we've done a whole bunch of collabs together, but, like, that is such a stupid opinion. I'm sorry. Okay. Which historical leader would I want to advise? Now, this is a very good question. So, Sir Wells, thank you for asking this. Yeah, I've got to think about that. Which historical leader would I want to advise? I don't know, perhaps Henry VIII? I mean, he definitely lived a very interesting time in history, but, like, his policy of, getting married and divorced and married and divorced, and, like, how he handled all that, I think was pretty bad, so maybe I could have advised him better. I mean, I'm literally just a 20-year-old. I shouldn't be saying this, but whatever. It's an interesting thought experiment. Okay, greatest nation in history. So this is an interesting question. You see, I've actually been working on a video of like the top 10 greatest nations in history, and then I sort of paused on it and never really got back. But I don't know. I feel like I won't answer that question just because I don't really want to spoil. Um, yeah, spoil what I'm gonna say. Am I going to record this live stream to archive it later? I'm not really going to record it, but I'm just going to keep it up on the channel so that people can see it. Okay, what inspired my profile picture? Basically my original profile picture was just like this like I literally just looked up history on Google search, and then basically that like yellowish background with the map and the telescope. were there. And then eventually someone said, hey, you know what? You should turn this into a country bowl. And so that's what they did. It was my friend Republic of Ireland mapping, and that's basically what happened. Yep. Okay. One. Oh, it looks like we have some drama in the chat between Uncle Sam and Julius Caesar. Okay, least favorite country. That's pretty easy. North Korea. What historical figure would I want to punch in the face? Oh, there are so many. Um, I mean, let's just name a few. You know, Hitler, Stalin, Mao, Karl Marx, um, Genghis Khan. Basically, a lot of the people I put in like my top 10 worst people in history. Tamerlane. Um, these different people. Choi Tom Wu Constantine. Yes, I remember you. Do you think Petronius Maximus or Honorius was the worst Roman emperor? Um, I don't know if either of those are the worst, but if I had to choose between those two, I'd say Honorius because he's just like a completely incompetent and useless emperor. I mean, he sort of just abandoned large areas, let in the barbarians, so and just very weak and ineffective. Phocas was the worst Roman emperor. Okay, perhaps. Logan. Yo, Logan. How's it going? Oh, and by the way, guys, if right now in the comment section, how surprised or not surprised were you when you saw my face? I mean, I do know some of you already saw it, like Uncle Sam. He's known my face for like years now. But for the rest of you, just write, um, yeah, write in the chat how surprised you were. Okay, so we're going through. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Yes. I say this for two reasons. Because one, it's delicious, and two, it comes from Canada. So, okay, thoughts on Santa. I think Santa's just like it's sad how Santa is now what Christmas is all about because like, it's about the birth of Jesus and everyone just cares about Santa now. So, I mean, honestly, I don't really have beef with Santa. It's an imaginary character who's nice, but like still, I think it's kind of sad. Was Nero good or bad? I would say he's a pretty bad. Like the fact that even the Romans, who obviously had a very questionable moral standard, thought he was terrible, does say a lot. I mean, first emperor to persecute Christians, probably burned down a quarter of the city. Actually, interestingly, I don't know if you guys know this, but I mean, definitely some of you do know this. Um, I used to live in Rome, so I actually went. To um, the I think what was it? It was called something Aurea, like the huge palace he was attempting to build, that would cover like a quarter of the city. So I went there for my birthday. It's actually not very impressive. I wouldn't recommend going there, but yeah, it is interesting though that yeah, that I have been to where Nero's palace was. Okay. Do I plan on making a video about Scottish alternate history? I've never thought of this, but that's actually a good idea. And actually, my last name's Scottish. I don't know. I mean, some of you probably know what my last name is, but I'm sure not all of you do. But yeah, my last name's Scottish, so fun fact. Okay, so Darvaza Archive writes, I wasn't too surprised since I've seen your face, but I kind of expected you'd have a beard. You see, the problem is, like, if you look here, um, like, I basically can't grow any more hair than here and like here. Like I'm not even kidding. I just literally have no facial hair here. Um, this mustache, fun fact, I've never shaved my mustache in my whole life. Like that's how little hair I grow. This is all I've been able to grow in 2 decades. So, not a tremendous amount, but whatever. Maybe one day I'll get like an actual epic beard. I think you have a beard, but like I haven't really seen your face except for a split second. New British Empire, yes, 100%. Actually, I was thinking of also making a video on that, but like that never really materialized. Okay, what video do I want to make, but I'm scared to make. That's a good question, actually. Huh. What video? I mean, I wouldn't say there's necessarily any videos I'm scared to make, just that I'm always running out of like time. I never have that much time, and so I feel like yeah, it's just probably those long videos. Okay, next. Oh, historical events. Yeah, welcome to the chat. Nice to see you here. This guy's part of the collab. Yeah. By the way, for all you guys like on the collab, right? It's not that like I forgot about the collabs, but between finals right now and the fact that I have just all the stuff with university, I'm doing this Roman alternate history. Obviously, I won't be able to do anything like, till next year obviously, but I'm hoping like to really start working January and then possibly February, March we can release the collab. I'm really sorry for the delay. I know a lot of you've already finished your parts. Okay. And Sonzil says day ruined. Okay. Uncle Sam says my history isn't Anglo. I mean, not fully. I mean, I have some English blood. Like, can trace it back to the Normans. See, yes, Devarze Archive, you do need to show your face. New Spanish Empire? I mean, I don't really have much of an opinion on Spanish Empire. Like, I'm not a fan of it, but whatever. I don't even think a new Spanish Empire would be that powerful. So for me, it's just whatever. Also, an unbiased history. If unbiased history is a channel, then I don't know. If we're talking about like unbiased history as a concept, then let me know. Just write so in the chat. It's also on Klaus von Stauffenberg. Yeah, I mean, pretty heroic man. Tried to kill Hitler, but I honestly don't know actually much about him personally, other than that. Do I have completely white teeth? Perhaps. I mean, not really completely white, but also like my camera's not the best. Um, what do I love about America? I mean, there are a lot of things. I'd say probably the thing that America is just amazing at is its food. And I know everyone's gonna hate me for this, but I love American food. Their food is fantastic. So I would say, yeah, definitely something I really love about America is the food. Also, like there's a high Christian population. They're fairly conservative for Western standards, and they're also like really epic and militaristic, which is something I wish my country was more like. Um, and yeah, I mean, also like great technology. All our technology comes from there, so those are some things I like. Have I heard of TIK history? Yes, but I've never watched him because he just seems like someone who's way in depth and like too focused on something for me to really like. Any opinions on William the Conqueror? See, William the Conqueror actually is like pretty much a scumbag, but at the same time, the fact that he's literally known as the Conqueror, and like some of my ancestors, well, the ancestors who live in England, that I have from England, came with him from Normandy, so I can't really, you know, trash his reputation, if you get what I mean. Canada's rightfully American? No. No. Thoughts on Gallienus? Gallienus is pretty epic. I think Gallienus is the one who. Oh wait, never mind. I was thinking Majorian. I forget exactly who Gallienus was. I recognize the name. I know he's a Roman emperor, but I forget if he was cool or not. If I had to have the chance to meet with the current head of state, which one would I like to confer with? Well, I would obviously say King Charles. Several reasons. I mean, also like one, it's my middle name, but also just because, um, yeah, like I did all that ancestry stuff on Elizabeth II. I feel like that would be a very good way to have a conversation with him. Okay, when is my next upload? Honestly, man, this totally depends on when I finish my essay. I'm in final season right now in university, which means I'm pretty busy. So hopefully soon. I do have one video that's like Rome Part 3, which isn't released, so I'll just release it whenever I feel like I'm getting close to making another video. Okay, whoa, lots of people in the chat now. Okay, Uncle Sam is like WTF. I'm not sure what he's talking about. Can I turn on the lamp in the background for like 10 seconds? Oh, the lamp. Oh, okay. Yeah, I should. It's actually getting sort of dark outside. Okay, thoughts on Korean domination, bro. The reached the patronage. I know who you are. I'm not gonna call you up. I know who you are. Trajan or Hadrian? Oh, definitely Trajan. Like Hadrian is just like, he doesn't expand. He's kind of weak. Like not based. And then Trajan, meanwhile, has like epic columns. Like Trajan is expanding, and Hadrian's just building walls. Not as cool. My favorite Spanish painter. This is actually a good question. I need to look more into Spanish painting before I can answer that. BC or Saskatchewan? I mean, probably Saskatchewan, but I've never been there. But I mean, BC is like, not the best place. As someone who lives there right now. Medici family, good or bad? I mean, they're definitely like good at banking. I can't say I know a tremendous amount, but overall they seem sort of like the stereotypical like power hungry Italian family. So I'd say more bad. Hmm. Okay, do I think Honorius deserves a spot as the top 50 worst humans in history? Hmm. I'm not sure about that. I'd actually need to do more research. Like, I know you asked this question a lot, but I just don't really know that much about him specifically, so I need to do more research. And Culture Ginny, welcome. Thank you for coming to the live stream. Okay. How would I fix the education system? You see, this is a good question, but it's sort of hard. You see, the problem I find with the education system, it's basically just about like how well you can regurgitate the stuff the teacher taught you, and there's no real way of knowing like, you have so many people, and I know this might sound like I'm a bit salty, but it is kind of true that they're just dumber than me, but are always getting better grades because they know how to like write essays or play the system better. So I'd say like maybe less focus on writing skills and more focus on like actual knowledge. I'd say for one thing, and also just not inserting so much politics into the education system. But I understand this is like sort of a hard question to answer. Valentinian or Theodosius? Theodosius. Theodosius is pretty epic. Made Christianity the official religion of the empire, and Valentinian seems kind of meh as an emperor. What should Canada's relation with the U.S. be like? I would say dominant, but that's not going to happen. But yeah, Canada currently has pretty trash leadership, so we don't really deserve it at the moment. How to remove the Korean bro? Vosinuri is a patriot. Just get out of the chat. Like you're literally asking all these stupid questions. Would I prefer a bigger England or Napoleonic France's height? So I mean, as someone who's a fan of England, I'm gonna say England, especially if we're talking about Richard the Lionheart because he's so epic. But also like, I was not a fan of Napoleon until I actually went to Paris, and then I went to the French museums and palaces, and obviously they only showed the good part of Napoleon, but I still got a massive respect for him that I still hold to this day. So I respect Napoleonic France and the Quebecois and their lives. Yes, exactly. I'm not a fan of the Quebecois. No Canadians are except the Quebecois. Okay. Would I rather be forced to live in max inflation Zimbabwe or max inflation Weimar Republic? I just feel like I'd rather live in Weimar Republic only because at least they had a decent standard of living previously, whereas Zimbabwe was just poor already. So, yeah. Favorite non-European or Western Empire entity? This is a good question. Um, hmm. I mean, I would say probably Ethiopia. I think they're pretty epic. Kind of just like, you know, isolated Christian kingdom, vibing, doing their own thing, and the only African country to remain independent. I mean, sure, Italy conquered them for like 6 years, so but that's not really a big deal. So, yeah, probably Ethiopia. Orange Order, yes, Orange Order is based. Um, Scipio Africanus or Julius Caesar. Hmm. See, the thing is, I'm not really too personally a fan of Julius Caesar. Like, I don't know if any of you know what I'm talking about, but it's like whenever you watch a history video or documentary or movie, you're always just rooting for one side, and I was always rooting for Pompey. But yeah, I guess I would say probably Scipio Africanus. And also Julius Caesar kind of committed genocide. But Julius Caesar writes Julius Caesar. Well, yeah, no kidding. Genghis Khan, based or unbased? I mean, like, here's the thing, right? Genghis Khan is someone who clearly is epic, right? He comes from nowhere, creates literally the largest empire the world has ever seen up to that point. But like, from any moral standards, he's actually a terrible person. Like, killed so many people that actually the climate gets better because there's some areas are so depopulated, and literally, like when you're massacring 40 million people at a time before modern warfare, that's like pretty bad. So basically he's just a war criminal that got glorified because he lived long enough before our current times. Which dynasty? That's a good question too. I mean, I did a project on Aksum when I was in school, so I feel like I'm slightly biased towards them. But I feel like all the dynasties of Ethiopia are pretty epic. Most cringe ideology. I mean, I guess I'd say communism. Nazism is pretty bad too, but I guess communism just because it literally inverts everything natural and normal in the world, so and it's just so utopian it doesn't even work. Would I like a timeline where Canada got Jamaica and the rest of the British Caribbean? Yes, yes, Canadian Empire. Let's go. It's actually interesting. A lot of the people in the Caribbean actually want to be part of Canada. So, okay, hats, headdresses, or crowns? Well, crowns clearly. Crowns are the best. Cringe anti-Confederate or cringe pro-Confederate? Are we talking about the American Civil War historical events? Write that in the chat. Wu Zetian, good or bad? I've heard of this name. I don't know who he is. So if you could give me some information, let me know. Russia or Ukraine? Oh, you see, these are the kind of questions I like, the spicy questions. Oh boy, well, Russia and Ukraine, like, everyone's supposed to stand with Ukraine. Do I really care? And look, this is going to be a bit of a controversial take, but when you look at all of history, right, countries are always invading and conquering others. So what Russia's doing now, is it really any different? Now, I don't really buy into the whole denazification and demilitarization. I mean, when did what changed in 2022 that Russia suddenly became a Nazi state and all that? Like, that's pretty dumb. And they're pretty pathetic too. They're always losing and just like, oh no, it's a strategic retreat. It's a tactical uh change of scenery. Like, that's dumb. But at the same time though, like, the fact that Ukraine's a victim of the invasion doesn't actually make them better. So I'd say I'm neutral. Okay. Would I rather live in a timeline where Canada became fascist or communist? So Canada's already communist, so I guess I'd say fascist. Favorite Indian state historically? Well, those Indians, they're actually from America. They ain't from that place in Asia called India. So I guess my favorite Indian state is the Cherokee Empire. No. My favorite actual Indian state. I don't know. I think the Guptas are pretty cool. Um, yeah. What would I do if I woke up and am a Quebecois man named Jean-Bou? Um, I don't know. Stormcloaks or Imperials? I have no idea what that means. Wu is a woman. I mean, bro, like, the Chinese all have the same name. Like, I'm not. How am I supposed to know? Okay. PRC or DPRK? See, I would actually say PRC. I'm not a fan of China, but like, at least, you know, it's not an actual concentration camp like North Korea. So yeah, I'd say China, but like, it sucks too. Juche gang, yeah, for real. Worst leader of North Korea? See, I'm just gonna say all of them. Like they all suck. None of them are better than the other. Okay, what dead animal that died in space would I have to be reborn? Um, oh, that died in space. I don't know, that dog from the Soviet Union. I think it's Laika, right? Okay, Cultured Ginny says he's a fan of the Mauryan Empire and the Mughals after them. Okay, where is the lost tribe of Israel? That's a good question. I think, honestly, I think they're just assimilated into, you know, into the Babylon, well, not the Babylon, but Syrian slash Babylonian population. I mean, people want to think that they somehow preserved their identity and became other people. There's just no genetic evidence or even historical evidence for that. Yeah, I'm just gonna get some water because talking all this time actually makes my throat a bit sore. Hmm. Okay, Mexico, Argentina. This is another good question. I mean, they both kind of suck. See, the cool thing is, I went to Mexico in like 11 days. So, I like when we're talking about personal experience, Mexico. But I've never been to Argentina. But like on one hand, like Argentina does seem a bit more civilized, but at the same time, it has terrible economy. Actually, Argentina used to have a great economy until like about World War One, especially after World War Two, they just became terrible. And I guess for time politically, like yeah, they both suck. But I'd say Argentina overall. Thoughts on the Brazilian military dictatorship? I barely know anything about it, so I can't really say. One day of Reddit or 1 week of Chinese water torture? Well, clearly Reddit, although I've never actually been on Reddit, so I don't know how bad it is. Yes, yes. Actually, closer to Ginny, like, how old are you? Or if you don't want to answer that, like, what year are you in university? Thoughts on China? I was actually a huge fan of China until, well, COVID, and sort of since then I've realized, like, how scummy their government is, and also, like, I'm in Vancouver right now, which is, like, very Chinese, and I mean, they're not bad people, but there's parts of their culture I really don't like how money obsessed they are. Okay. He said, I'm Jewish, and the only claimed lost tribe descendants I could really say are somewhat verifiable is Lemba and Zimbabwe. It's crazy. It's crazy you have Jews who made it all the way to Zimbabwe. Although, I'm sure, like, the percentage of Jewish must be really low at this point. He gave you, like, also, what do you plan on doing a video about John of Gaunt? Yeah, I could do that. That sounds like a good idea, actually. I'm gonna write that down right now. Favorite Muslim state? Hmm. No, I'll probably say the Ottomans, actually. I mean, like the Ottomans, they get a bad rap, but I don't think they're actually that bad for the most part until they started declining and then started doing the genocides and all that. But for the most part, yeah, I would say the Ottomans. Dang, this dude's doing a postmaster study. Okay, you must clearly be a lot older than I am. Hey, would I rather live in Italian Argentina or a Spanish USA? Italian Argentina, Spanish USA. I mean, I guess it depends what you mean by that. Like, does this mean that the U.S. was founded by Spanish people, or it just got taken over? I mean, I guess you can specify a little bit what I mean, but like just Italian majority Argentina, but it was founded by the Spanish. Like, I guess just specify that in the chat so I can answer better. Who is the greatest explorer in the Western world? Hands down, Magellan. Like, I mean, the man literally went around the entire world, so gotta give the credit to him. Who's my favorite political commentator? It's a good question, actually. I'm a fan of like all the people at Daily Wire. Um, so like Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, um, yeah, Michael Knowles. I guess apart from myself, of course, I would say I don't know, probably Ben Shapiro. Would I rather live in oh my gosh, Pol Pot's Cambodia or any stage during the Black Death? Oh my gosh, that would be so bad because bro, like the Black Death, literally like half the population died. But then Pol Pot, this man's literally genocides a third of the population in 3 years. But I guess I'd rather live in Pol Pot's Cambodia because I feel like the Black Death, you still have a higher chance of dying. Best Western explorer is Dora the Explorer. Yes. Who's the greatest philosopher in the Western world? This is a great question. You see, by the way, guys, these are the kind of questions I really like answering. Who's the greatest philosopher in the Western world? So I just took my political philosophy class, so this has really inspired me. So, although I have an incomplete view of the philosophers, I'd probably say Aristotle. Aristotle is just, I like what he says. Seems very knowledgeable, says things as they are, is really interested in learning, um, and just has a large body of work. Like, the West was influenced by him for, like, over a millennium after his death. So I'd say, yeah, Aristotle. Opinion on Trump? My opinion on Trump is I was actually a big Trump fan until right around like this year, and he's just been getting weirder and more paranoid. So I don't really know if I can say I'm still a fan of his anymore, but I don't know. I feel like he was good while he was in office. Okay, thoughts on the marriage of two people theory. Okay, you're gonna have to explain that because I don't know what that means. Thoughts on the KJV. KJV is a cool Bible, but I don't believe it's the only acceptable kind. Okay, greatest Eastern philosopher. Um, See, I actually don't know really anything about Eastern philosophy, so I can't answer that question. Oh, if I was American, would I vote MAGA 2024 or Kanye 2024? I mean, I want to say Kanye 2024 just because it's so funny and stupid, but like, you know, MAGA, I mean, Kanye is like literally mentally ill. Okay, why did I change my name from Mike History 2 to Mike History? Well, I just had this guy who was checking out my channel and he was giving me tips and was like, yeah, don't remove the 2. It's not really necessary. So, that's just what I did. Yeah, it's actually getting kind of dark outside right now. I don't know if you can notice there's less light, but my room's not very well lit, unfortunately. All right, guys, send in more of your questions. Oh gosh, I wake up and become Trudeau. What would I do? Oh man, this is such a bad question. I mean, I feel like if I wake up and become Trudeau, I'm gonna literally do all the opposite to what he's already doing. But I like that question. Do I support Armenia, Azerbaijan, or neither? I support Armenia. They're Christians. Um, and also like the area they're disputing over in Nagorno-Karabakh is majority Armenian, so I don't really see why I should support Azerbaijan. Who's the greatest economist in the Western world? Probably say Karl Marx. I think like Karl Marx's economic theories really worked well, especially when you look at the Soviet Union, China. Why did Canada just fall off? Define fall off. Okay, Violet, thank you for coming. I always appreciate your support. You're always helping me out, so I appreciate it. Yeah, have a good day. Yeah, thanks. Have a good day as well. Do I plan on hosting a government official anytime soon? See, that would be epic, but I don't really know any. I have met the leader of the opposition here, Pierre Poilievre. He's the only government official I've met. Okay. Hey, Chancellor of History, thank you for coming. Goodbye. Nice to have you here as well. Who is the greatest president of the U.S.? This is actually a good question and one I've been asking myself. I mean, personal bias aside, probably. No, actually, you know what? No. gonna say George Washington. George Washington's a great president, but I'd say Abraham Lincoln. Because Abraham Lincoln, just a good person, and also he abolished slavery, kept the Union together. So yeah, Abraham Lincoln. Best leader of Canada. Yeah, I feel like all the prime ministers have just been getting progressively worse. So I'd say probably John A. Macdonald. He founded the country. The first prime minister really laid down the foundations of our unity. Who is my favorite historical German leader? Hmm. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. My favorite historical German leader. I mean, Frederick the Great was pretty epic. Um. Hmm. I don't know why I'm so stumped. It's like now I just forgot all my German history right now. Hmm. I mean, Bismarck is pretty epic too. Probably Bismarck, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Thoughts on modern day loyalists. Loyalists to where? You have to explain that. Otto the Great? Yeah, Otto the Great was pretty epic. Yeah. I can see that. Most beautiful country I've visited. Oh, this is such a good question. And by the way, for you, those of you who don't know, I've been to like 23 countries. So, yeah, if you want to ask me more about my travels, definitely do. So, this is a really good question. The most beautiful country I've visited. See, I guess we need to distinguish between the city and the countryside. If we're talking about city, right, UK, I really like London. It's one of, I would say it is my favorite city in the world. But if we're talking about countries overall, uh, I mean, like I've been to Uganda and Kenya. Very nice scenery there. Um, Czech Republic was kind of a vibe too. France had a really just overall good scenery. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit hard to answer that question, but I guess we put all those factors together, probably France. Yeah, I'd say France. Peter the Great or Suleiman the Magnificent? Who'd win? Well, this is a good question. See, I feel like Suleiman would definitely win at first. Peter the Great was just the kind of guy who would never give up. Like if you look at him against Charles XII, right? He kept losing, but then he reformed his army and won. So I feel like that's what would happen if he was fighting Suleiman the Magnificent. What is the greatest thing America ever did? Um, I mean, I guess if we're talking objectively, probably landing a man on the moon. If we're talking subjectively, their food, that's the greatest thing they did. How sinful do I think breaking an oath is? I think it's pretty sinful, but also depends on the type of oath. Thoughts on Vladimir Putin? Well, I mean, Vladimir Putin, he's not a popular man. I don't think he's actually that bad. And especially if we put him in a more historical standard, he's not really out of the ordinary in terms of cruelty or anything. Like he just seems like a typical Russian leader. I mean, he's pretty pathetic when you look at his special military operations supposedly in Ukraine. But overall, would I say he's really that evil of a person? Not really. Favorite national anthem? La Marseillaise from France. Thoughts Xi Jinping? Yeah, not a fan of him at all. He's like pretty big communist, and he's just turning China into a very like aggressive and even more authoritarian country than it already was. Thoughts on the means? Well, I do you mean the ends justify the means? Is that what you mean? That's a glorious president here in the U.S. of A. I mean, Biden is literally a joke. Like, obviously I can't make fun of him too much because our leader's worse. But like in terms of pure incompetence and like meme content, he is definitely he is definitely like just hilarious. But on in all seriousness, despite how stupid he is, he's actually ruining the economy and making America worse. So yeah, not a fan of Biden at all. That's on Volodymyr send more aid to Zelensky. Yeah, more money, give me more money, please, more money. Yeah, man. I mean, Zelensky. What I will say is I admire his courage, even though I don't support him as a person. Like, you gotta admire his courage. But other than that, yeah, there's really nothing else I like about Zelensky. Okay, Xi Jinping's not that bad compared to a lot of Chinese leaders in history. I mean, I guess you could argue that. I think though the problem is like China's already a communist country, so yeah, not great. It looks like he's gonna be a new Mao. I mean, not obviously killing like 40 million people kind of Mao, but still, like the lockdowns and the protests, like even Chinese people who are getting fed up with him. Okay, Glorious Revolution. I love the Glorious Revolution. Totally deserves the name. I don't know, it's just pretty epic. It's like the last invasion of the British Isles, and the people welcomed it for the most part. Not on Gorbachev. I mean, I think Gorbachev was fairly good as a person. I mean, he also destroyed the Soviet Union, which is epic, even though it's probably not what he was trying to do. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a pretty good person. Hello, Biden. It's Zelensky. We 5 million rockets to bomb Donetsk children. Slava Ukraine. Oh man. Would a Trotsky USSR be better than the Stalinist USSR we got IRL? So this all goes all the way back to like my series, back like 3 years ago when I did Trotsky versus Stalin. Personally, I don't think Trotskyist USSR would be better. In fact, Trotsky might destroy the USSR just because he was so aggressive. He probably would have invaded other countries to spread the revolution and got crushed. But like, probably he wouldn't have been as brutal as Stalin, but probably no better than him, honestly. Oh, and by the way, if any of you want me to do accents, I can always try. I'm not always the best at them, but you can ask me to do some accent impersonations. Just closing the window right now. Any monarchies I would not reinstate. This is another good question. I don't think a monarchy that really sucked. See, the problem is just like most of the monarchs were just average. So I don't feel like any of them were really that bad. I mean, there's probably some that I should think about, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. What's my reaction to trading the Merchant of Death for an NBA player who kneels during the national anthem? That is the dumbest trade deal of all time. Like, seriously, think about it. You're releasing literally the Merchant of Death, like worldwide terrorist, right? And you're getting this for like this lesbian, you know, drug addicted NBA player who broke Russian laws. Like that's such a bad deal, and like she hates America too. So I mean, it's such a stupid deal. I mean, for real. Doing Israeli accent. You see, I don't know how to do the Israeli accent, which is stupid because I've been to Israel, but I guess it's not one of the famous stereotypical accents. I can't do it. Perspectives on Judaism. I mean, my thoughts on Judaism have always been pretty much the same. Like, I don't really have a problem with Judaism for the most part. Like, most of the Bible here, got my Bible right here. So I basically just started the New Testament. But, you know, majority of our Bible is the Jewish Bible, and so obviously I agree with everything from there. My only problem with Judaism is they don't accept Jesus. But other than that, like, for the most part, they don't seem to be too much of a problem. Timmy's W. See, Timmy's used to be good, but like they've just not become good. I don't think I've even had Tim Hortons this entire year, which says something because there's a Tim Hortons like literally just right, um, like 3 minutes away from where I live, and I can by 3 minutes I mean 3 minutes walk. Thoughts on Black Hebrew Israelites? They're just weird. Like I forget if this is the one with Yaqub or if that's the Nation of Islam, but it's just like I don't understand what they think. Okay, do a Russian accent try to explain to Ukraine why he believes the war is justified. Ah, okay, that's true. Well, comrade, you already know that the, the fake breakaway region of Ukraine is a Nazi-occupied state under your Aryan leader Vladimir Zelensky. He has tried to assert independence from Mother Russia. The kind of Nazi atrocities and Holocaust against Ukrainian Jews is just too bad, and so we will send in special military operation. for 3 days, which actually turned out to be almost entirely a year, to go and pacify Ukrainian kids. And we will liberate the country even though we keep on strategically retreating and losing half our land. And so, Slava Russia, we are the best country in the world. Why do I believe that Jesus is God? Uh, well, basically because he says he's God in several areas. So, for example, at his trial, when they asked him, like, are you the Messiah? He said yes. I mean, also the fact he raised himself from the dead is sort of obvious that he's God. Then he ascends to heaven and he's gonna come back. So for all those reasons, I believe Jesus is God. And also, Jesus answered a lot of my prayers. I won't get into it too much here because that's like this is my history channel. But on my traditionalist channel, I can talk more about that. Okay, hey Uncle Sam, thank you so much for being in the chat. I really appreciate it. Actually, I'm gonna end the live stream pretty soon, like probably at the turn of the hour. But for the last 9 minutes, yeah, the rest of you can stay here. Which social issue is the most pressing to me? I think honestly, the anti-Christian attitudes. I'd say that's the most important to me. And the reason is just because like I feel like all the other issues sort of just fall under that category. I mean, I guess it's more of a it's there's like a coordinated attack against religion altogether, but it's specifically focused at Christianity. Um, Death penalty, question mark, and what method? I do believe there should be the death penalty. I mean, people who are like going around massacring people and terrible people, they should have the death penalty. But the method really depends on the sort of crime, right? I feel like if you just shot someone, then you should get shot. But if you're like slowly torturing like 5-year-old children and like I don't know eating their organs, like you deserve like a super bloody painful death. Am I a convert or raised? Yeah, I'm raised. Though my mom is a convert from Islam. Okay, which royal family would I prefer working for? I would say the British royal family because they are the royal family of Canada, and the ones I definitely am most familiar with. I know their history, I know their culture. We speak the same language, and they're just pretty well known. So I'd probably get a higher salary too. So yeah. All right, we still have like 7 minutes. Come and ask me some more questions. Yes, I am Khalif ul Maikadima. Perspective on your conversion from Noahidism to Shinto. Bro, ask me an actual question. You do this. I know you too well. Let's just say that. I'm not going to spill the beans because this is a public chat, but I do know you too well. Am I familiar with the Vasa dynasty? Yes, and the Vasa dynasty is epic. Like, they're the ones who really birthed the Swedish Empire. They're the ones who brought it to its height. I mean, you look at Gustavus Adolphus, just epic, man. And even Charles XII, like, I'm a really big fan of him. So, yeah, huge fan of the Vasa dynasty. Too bad they're not around anymore. My opinion on Mississippi. I mean, I'm a fan of Mississippi. I actually think it's the best state in America, even though for some reason you don't like your own state. But then, like, whenever I ask you which state's better, you don't seem to have an answer. Thoughts on Japanese Empire? Japanese Empire was horrible. I mean, it's just insanely brutal. They're basically as bad as the Nazis, but just got away with it for the most part. Yeah. Achaemenid Empire, Macedonian Empire. See, I feel like personally I like the Achaemenid Empire more, but like the Macedonian Empire is better because the fact that they literally took over the Achaemenid Empire under one man in like 10 years. I mean, that's not that great of an empire if you fall that quickly. Am I going to do a server VC after the stream? I mean, I could. Yeah. I mean, if you guys are down for it, 100%. German or Portuguese Empire? I guess I'm slightly more sympathetic to the German Empire, and the Portuguese Empire was pretty brutal. At the same time, the German Empire just never really kicked off. So I'd have to say the Portuguese Empire. Anyway, I think I'm gonna be adding a couple of moderators, so I'm gonna add Darvaza Archive as a moderator. So congratulations, you are now a moderator. Austria or Italy? I guess I'll say Italy, because mainly I'm thinking just World War One, and Italy was our ally, and Austria wasn't. And also like Austria, I mean I guess Italy's also sort of been pathetic, but Austria, like when you think about it, because I'm especially thinking the 19th century, it's just like just going from one form of pathetic to another. And also, someone who's lived in Italy, I'm more sympathetic towards the Italians. So, yeah, I'd say Italy. Wait, no, what happened? Thoughts on the Kaiserreich? You see, I feel like the Kaiserreich is like one of the most overrated parts of history. I mean, it didn't last very long. The flag was ugly. I don't know, not a fan really. I've been to Missouri. I have actually. I have been to Missouri. Been to Kansas City, Missouri. It's weird because basically all my time in Kansas City has been in Missouri. Ottoman Empire, HRE, or Russia is the best claim it to be the new Rome? Oh, this is a good question. I'd probably say HRE because, right, HRE at least was not too long after the fall of the Roman Empire, and at least they included Rome for a decent amount of time. Whereas neither the Ottomans or Russians ever controlled Rome, right? The Ottomans were Muslims, and so they were very far from Rome. They had no Roman institutions, no Roman cultural heritage. Like, there's nothing Roman about the Ottomans except the fact that they conquered Constantinople. And then Russia, too, sure, they're sort of culturally connected to the Eastern Romans, but not very Roman either. Favorite animal? I mean, I'd say the lion is pretty epic. Personally, I don't know. Actually, I do have a cat, but I always forget that I have one. Should there be anti-blasphemy laws? I mean, see, the thing is, it wouldn't work because people blaspheme all the time. So, yeah. Thoughts on SDA Seventh Day Adventist? Oh, that's a good question. Actually, let me find this book. So, this book right here. The book's called The Great Controversy. It's a book by the Seventh Day Adventists. Someone actually at Parliament, when I went there, just randomly gave me this book. Well, the weird thing about Seventh Day Adventists is they consistently refuse to admit that they're Seventh Day Adventists. Like, I'll ask them, "Are you Seventh Day Adventists?" They'll be like, "No." And the problem I have with the Seventh Day Adventists, especially after reading that book, which is one of their major texts, is they literally predicted Jesus would come back in 1844, and then he didn't. And then they just changed it, like, "Oh, well, he's just getting ready to come back starting in 1844." I'm like, I don't think it'll take Jesus like 400 years to get ready to come back. So I think pretty stupid denomination. I like the fact they worship on Saturday, but that's about it. Switzerland, Portugal? Switzerland. Okay. Okay, Ottomans controlled Constantinople and actually preserved law structures in the Timor system, just being more or less the pronoia from the Eastern Roman Empire. Oh, they sent you that book too, Historical Events. I don't know if you want to read that book, but at least read the first half. It's very interesting because it's good Christian history, but the rest is just kind of garbage denying or garbage justifying their weird claims. Would I do an ancestry video on another monarch? Perhaps, but it wouldn't be anytime soon because because Elizabeth took so long already that, yeah, I don't think I would. Impression on average tradcast. I mean, I actually know some tradcasts. Like, one of my friends is a tradcast. Like, traditional Catholics, obviously I like a lot of what they're doing. They're traditional, conservative. There's a lot we have in common, but like, as someone who's not a Catholic, I don't like the other parts of it. Jesus will return when everyone becomes woke. Yes, for real, guys. All right, it's 5 o'clock p.m. at least where I am. If any of you really want to continue, just let me know. But if no one else really wants to say anything, I'll probably end the stream now. Good stream. Thank you. Thank you very much. Do I have a problem with my viewers that aren't Christian? No. I don't have a problem with you know, anyone's religion because this is a history channel. I do have another channel where I talk about my own personal views, but as a history channel, it's not my duty to ever, you know, start sharing my political views because then it becomes about me and not about the history. Okay, Uncle Sam, thank you for coming. Actually, Sir Welch, I'll make you a moderator too. I don't know. Did I answer your question, Cultured Ginny? Oh, Draza. Wait a second. I know you. I forget where I know you from, but okay. Well, great stream. Thank you. Uh, don't go to Gastown. Yeah. See, I already have. Okay. Well, anyways, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Sir Welch, Uncle Sam, Darvaza, Cultured Ginny, Logan, Historical Events, everyone else, Julius Caesar, all the rest of you who came. Thank you very much for coming. Hope you enjoyed. Um, I don't know how, like, I mean, because it's like 1,000 subs and all that, I definitely am going to be making more sort of videos like this. But the only major announcement, and I'll probably announce it tomorrow, is just I'm going to do a channel survey. And that's going to be really fun. So definitely do that because it's going to be awesome. Alright. Thank you, guys. I think I'm going to end the stream pretty soon. Yeah, I think I'm going to end it now.